But I remember pulling up outside the churchyard and seeing this little boy. He stood about a foot above the gravestone. And to this day, I can tell it was pitch black at night, but he was so vibrant in colour. He had the flat cap on, the tweed jacket, he had the lovely, like the waistcoat tweed jacket with the other jacket on, the shorts, his grey socks pulled up just to under his knee. And I just remember him waving at me. And I said, Simon, drive, just go.
So first of all, welcome, Russ. You're from Essex Ghost Hunters. Your TikTok is known as EGH Paranormal, but on all your socials, Essex Ghost Hunters. Is that right?
That is correct. That cool? That is the absolutely one.
We've ticked the first box. I've got the first bit right. Okay. But how you doing, mate? How you doing? You good?
I'm all good. Thank you, Ded. It's a very apt name for.
I know. Right, I'm scared when you're saying that. I'm starting to get scared because you're going to go. I've got the feeling something. I was like, right.
I don't think I've ever called anyone dead in my life. No. You know, I've only spoke to the dead.
No. Right. For those of you who don't know Russ, so he's from Essex Ghost Hunters. And I suppose just tell us a little bit about yourself and obviously what Essex Ghost Hunters is about, if that's cool.
Well, Essex Ghost Hunters really started off the back of a whim, really. My business partner, who started Essex Ghost Hunters with me, Simon, he couldn't make it tonight, but he's my uncle as well.
Oh, nice.
So it was a family thing. And I remember going back a few years now, it'd be over 20 years now. Simon said to me one day, have you ever heard of Borley Rectory in Essex? Right. I said, never heard of it in my life. A long story short, he said it was the most haunted house in Essex.
Right.
And he took us over there one day. He took us over there for a ride with a few of my mates. And that's where it all started for me, really, because the experiences we had that night, I recollect now, and I've got goosebumps thinking about it. It takes me back. It's memories. I remember seeing my first apparition.
Okay.
I remember seeing the little boy standing next to a graveyard in Borley churchyard. The rectory's not there now. Borley Rectory's not there no more. And it burnt down. They burnt it down because of so much paranormal activity. But the folklore goes that all the spirits just got up and moved to the churchyard across the way. I don't necessarily feel that's correct. I think they were all in around the area.
Yeah.
But I remember pulling up outside the churchyard and seeing this little boy. He stood about a foot above the gravestone. And to this day, I can tell it was pitch black at night, but he was so vibrant in colour. He had the flat cap on.
So colour as well.
So like colour, it was pure. Wow. It was if something stood, like when something is highlighted.
Yeah.
From the dark, that's how I remember seeing this little boy. The tweed jacket, he had the lovely, like the waistcoat tweed jacket with the other jacket on, the shorts, his grey socks pulled up just to under his knee. And I just remember him waving at me. And I said, Simon, drive, just go. And he drove out of there. And we got to a crossroads, and Simon gave way to a car that was coming down. And I said, Simon, what are you doing? Pull out. There's no one there. He said, no, there's a car there. And we both looked to the left, and there was no car there. And 3 other people in the car all saw the lights, but there was no car there. We give way to nothing. So after that, really, Essex Ghost Hunters was born. Always interested in the paranormal field. Yeah. We watched Most Haunted every time it was on, Most Haunted Lives. And then my best mate Adam and Simon's stepson Ryan, we all sort of got together, and that's how we got Essex Ghost Hunters. We went out with a video camera, filming hot locations in and around Essex. And we started our little YouTube channel.
Okay.
which is very sporadic, but there's
Yeah.
videos on there. It goes back for a long way. And then the next step was Essex Ghost Hunters events. So we run events as well.
Yeah.
So that's just how it got me into it, really. Just seeing it. There's a little bit of a gap between there. How me and Simon got our senses of communicating with spirit.
That's crazy,
But
though, right?
yeah,
That's even that experience, like you saying, like you can say it so vividly. Obviously, must have shook your bones. You must have thought, "What on earth is going on?" But
bearing in mind, I would have only been about 15,
right,
16
okay,
at that point. Um, I say that even though I'm looking at you, I can still see that vision in my head of that little boy. He wasn't frightening. He wasn't there
no,
to scare me. It was just he was there. And every time I go back, um, I I always asked for the little boy to come forward and to
right,
come and talk to me because he was my first ever sort of
yeah,
apparition of a spirit that I saw. Um, but the weirdest bit of it all was when we got back that night. Um, Me, my uncle, my group of friends all went back upstairs, and we went back to like my mother's house, and she went there as a child. Sorry, as a teenager, and she never told anybody this story until that night. And she said, just before I even told my story, she said, I remember driving down the road and seeing a little boy hunched up in the curbside with a green jacket on. And when we all started to sort of say that, it was like,
oh my god,
what did you say, Jill? What did you say? My mum is a slight non-believer,
yeah,
but I think she's a non-believer in the fact that it scares her. Non-believer. What she
yeah.
doesn't know doesn't harm her.
I think a lot of people are like that. So a little bit
Yeah.
from myself as well. So like self-disclosure. So like I know it's obviously nothing in comparison, but I used to love scary movies. Used to love like the horror games. Love them. I remember playing Resident Evil when I was like 6 or 7. Was loved it. And then when I just got a little bit older, I became into like the biggest scaredy cat I've ever. So not as in like going outside when it's dark or nothing like that at all. But it's just like little things of like playing a horror game or something that just freak the life out of me when you see the eyes. I just can't
Don't
do
know
it.
how you play Resident Evil. That scares the living crap out of
You
me, that
can't. You
game.
1 second. So you're scared of a video game, but you're more than happy to go and
It's the jump factor.
right. Okay,
It's
fair
not the
enough.
fact
Yeah,
of, if a rabid dog was running towards me in real
yeah,
life, I'd laugh. But it's because you know it's coming and you have to
right.
turn the corners, don't you? Then
Yeah,
the music turns up, then you get that
yeah,
the deep groans, and you just know it's
mm,
coming, but you can't stop your body from jumping.
yeah.
You know,
You're
I
on
can't do them.
tenterhooks, aren't you? You
Yes,
know there's a jump scare, but you don't know when. It's just all of a sudden your body comes down a bit, and then it happens every time.
and I've walked through forests on my
Yeah.
own at 1 o'clock in the morning, old derelict prisons, Shepton Mallet Prison, Gloucester
Mm,
Prison, Shrewsbury Prison on my own through the morgues, and that doesn't frighten me. But if you put me in one of them, them scare
yeah.
things where they jump out on you, that's it, I'm done. I'd need a
You're
new
done.
pair of underpants quite quickly. Quite quickly. I hate that. I hate something jumping out on me.
But I suppose like we'll probably come on to it a little bit, but I think if you're prepared for it, you must know like in your mind you're thinking right, I'm going into this environment. You're probably more comfortable. But like you said, it's the unknown. When you're unknown and you're not sure, because I wanted to talk to you a little bit about setup. But I suppose I don't want to jump the gun a little bit. What do you do with your setup? But I think just picking up on one of the points as well, you said that like that's where it kicked off when you were sort of like 15. But you said at the very start, you've always had a passion for like paranormal or what do you think kicked it off? What do you think when you was young? Obviously not playing Resident Evil. Probably.
No, to be fair, I've always had sort of how would you put it? Not I've always loved Halloween.
Yeah.
Always loved Halloween. I've got a fascination with skeletons.
Okay.
I love skeletons. Anything skeleton fired, I have to have. I've got like I can't show you, but I've got like an 8 foot skeleton, a
Okay.
wooden carved skeleton standing next to me. I've got a skeleton wooden carved under anything
Hmm.
that's skull skeleton. I
Right.
love, and I suppose I've always had that ghosty sort of thing. I've always loved
Hmm.
Halloween. Not to say that's the link into it, because I don't really know, but
Yeah. Yeah.
I know I know that the Borley Rectory incident was the sort of the coming together of it all for me.
Okay.
That I knew there was something else out there.
That's crazy though when you think about it. Isn't it? But then I suppose like if you can imagine if you was in America, because I know obviously we was, even if you think like 10 years ago, Halloween wasn't that big in the UK. In America, could you imagine what you'd be doing now if you had a passion for Halloween? Then it's sort of like combined with paranormal. Yeah, you'd have your own TV show. I mean, you'd be on there.
There is a real difference between our paranormal
Yeah.
and the American paranormal. You go around the globe. There's very different sides of aspects to paranormal.
Yeah.
As within this country, we are very history orientated
Yeah.
with paranormal. With the States and that side of things, they've always, when we do interviews with famous mediums like Chris Fleming and people like that, over in the States, they have always said they want to come to the United Kingdom and investigate because of the history. But then they've got all their derelict penitentiaries over there. That we just want to do. It's like we want to go to America, but all the Americans want to come to us. It's weird sometimes, when you see the TV programs and things like that, and their belief system towards our belief system is very different as well.
I definitely think, it's because I suppose because we're a smaller island and they're gigantic, and you always they probably long for having something a little bit smaller, where we just long for space. Like we both live in Essex, right? You turn around the corner, there's 5,000 houses. When you go there, and like you mentioned about derelict houses, there's derelict towns and cities out there. Like there's just, like I said, they used to be for merchants or whatever, and they're all gone. Like, imagine that'd be a dream for you going out there, going to,
I would love it. There is a derelict town in the UK somewhere in Wales, but we've never been able to locate it. But I don't know. There's no location of it, and no one really gives you a pinpoint. I think it's taken off the web very quickly. I think there's also been used for military stuff as well, so it's probably sort of tells you why. Yeah.
You need to get yourself on the dark web or the deep web, or whatever they call it. That's what you need to get into. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So one of the questions I had originally for you was obviously, so have you seen a ghost, or is ghost the correct term or not? Or is
apparition, ghost,
okay, fine.
Spirit, energy.
Okay.
There's no wrong or right to it. We're called Essex Ghost Hunters. It is that looking for that apparition. I suppose apparition is probably the scientific terminology for it, if you're going to call it a scientific word. But no, I think ghost is fine. I think it is a ghost. It's something that we can't necessarily see with our own eyes, and how we see it. To be fair, so I don't see any problem with it being called a ghost.
No. Do you see? So it's hard, obviously, for me being a complete beginner. Probably should have sat at the outside. So a complete beginner. I have no real idea. I'm fascinated, but I'm fascinated from a distance of like, oh look, that's great over there. I mean, it's just let me get back to what I'm doing. But it's obviously you've seen ghost apparitions before, but would you say that was your scariest experience that you've had?
Oh, no. No. Seeing them and talking to them is part and parcel of sort of a medium, so to speak. Someone who communicates with the dead, for want of a better phrase. Not you,
but me.
You're definitely alive and kicking and has a pulse. But talking to the other side, the other realm, whatever, that doesn't frighten me. That's part and parcel of my life now. But do I get scared? Yes. How can you not be when you're face to face with things that you don't understand? I've had physical marks where they've made me. I've had 3 scratches that's gone from this shoulder all the way down to there, 3 claw marks, and they've made me bleed. I've had boxes thrown at me. I've been pushed over. I've been dragged along the floor. And 2 people couldn't grab hold of me, but my leg got pulled and dragged along the floor. Stones thrown, boxes thrown.
That's scary stuff, right?
Sort of, but do I get absolutely petrified. The only time I really got petrified was of a location in Kent. I won't say the name because it's a village,
Okay.
and the village is still very much there. And I don't need the villagers of this location coming after me because I do think there's something there. But I did fear
Right.
for. I was so glad to get out that place. I'd never run from a place to get there, back into the vehicle, and get out. It was a horrible feeling, and we were sat in the churchyard. We was doing our stuff, and you could feel the energy coming from around the churchyard. You saw the red eyes in and out of the bushes. A little part of me. I don't know if you've ever seen the film The Village.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
where they keep them in and
Yeah.
don't let them out.
Yeah.
I had that sort of feel, so I couldn't be 100% sure if it was human or spirit.
Right.
But we went for a pub meal in the local pub. It was all hunky dory. Everyone was laughing, joking. We spoke to the owners. They were saying, "I would take you down to the cellar. It's all right. We come and then Simon and a team member went out for a cigarette with the owner, and they let everything that they were getting, and they didn't let us down the cellar and chucked us out the pub very quickly.
Right. Okay.
Because I think that we was onto something that they didn't want us to know.
Right.
And I think the area was renowned for it, and I think they were still practicing some form of dark arts, for want of a better phrase.
Wow. Okay.
And I think we was onto something. So that's where I thought, but that was that, you saw windows twitching when you was walking down the road.
Oh my. Oh,
You really had a sense of the locals, because it's only this little village was one street.
yeah.
So it had a maximum of 30 houses and a pub and a church that was
tiny. Yeah. Yeah.
It was what's the word when they
Decommissioned.
decommissioned?
Yeah.
It's got so, and it's all we kept getting. There was tunnels from here to there to there to here to there underground, and it just it freaks me out. I've never been back. Never have I. And that was about 12 years ago.
Okay.
I've never been back. I don't have any intentions to go back.
Well, it's quite clear I'm never going to Kent now, so I'm just going to stay this side. If we ever go travelling, we just go to Manchester. We don't go to Dartford anymore. We don't go to Kent. Nowhere there. We're fine. We're fine.
Kent has got some absolutely fantastic locations. We've spent a lot of time in Kent, Slough, Amherst, Dover Castle, things like that. We've done all investigations in them, and they've been amazing things for us. But it was just that one village, not again.
So thinking about, obviously, you do meetings, obviously you go and do investigations. What's your setup? So what do you do? Because I know a little bit around you. You have to do, I think you have to protect yourself or stuff. So what would be, you go into a castle, for example, on Sunday. What would be your setup? What would you do?
So for me, if it was just a non-event, so if I didn't have guests or anything like that, is all I would do is when I'm, I would do it just when I'm in the car park or, but mainly I'm sort of protected from the morning when I do it. So on an investigation, I would just say I have a cloak of protection. Very, very simple. I just get into what I visualize as a sleeping bag. I zip it up all the way across and all the way over the top of me. So I'm cocooned in the sleeping bag. Once I've finished my investigation, I unzip my sleeping bag, I step out of it, and I leave that there. And is that signifies to me that I've left anything that has tried to attach to me.
Right.
I leave it at the location. I don't take it home. And if I, and I just say my little prayer. I'm not a religious person per se.
I was going to come on to that and ask, are you?
I'm not, do I believe, when I use the word God, it's more of a being.
Yeah.
But I don't believe in God as the biblical sense of God.
No, I can understand you.
Do I believe in a God? Yes.
Right.
100%. But just not the biblical sense.
Okay. And do you believe there's an afterlife? As in there's something,
yes.
you assume you would, right? Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
What that is, I'm not 100% sure. I say I talk to past loved ones when I do my readings for people and things like that. So there is a communication. So there has to be some form of what I would call realm. What that is, I really could. So we get over there. Who knows? No. I'm not frightened of that. I'm not frightened of death. Knowing what knowing what I know, and knowing that I'm talking to my loved ones.
Well, I think you've cut out. I'm not sure if it's me.
Doesn't end.
Oh, sorry. I don't know. Can you hear
Hello?
me? Yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah.
I have no idea what happened there. Sorry. Yeah.
That's called the gremlins in the machine.
Yeah. It's nothing paranormal. That's just technology.
To be fair, 9 times out of 10 when I do an interview for somebody or do a podcast or there is technical issues. Right. It would, as far as that would be spirit telling us what is about. Yeah.
Well, it was my headphone disconnected. You were saying something, it disconnected, it turned off. Right. So that stays in. You know what I mean? Oh my goodness.
But no, I'm not frightened of death. I know, I don't know my death time. No. I don't, it doesn't work like that. But
that's what I was going to say. I don't think it works. Like, I suppose you can imagine like mainstream television and stuff, like the comparison in real life. It must be something that when you speak to a police officer, what's it like in prison? The way it's portrayed is different, but it's like what sells movies. Of course, they like, that sort of stuff. But it's like, I like when you're saying, you would have your cloak or you'd have something protecting you before you'd enter it. Have you ever had anything attached to you or ever seen anything attached to someone because they haven't done the right steps like before?
Yeah. I say when I do, if I was to do a house clearance or anything like that, and I need to take things away, or I'm at a location and one of our guests is having a bit of trouble, the easiest way to get that energy away from them is attach it to yourself.
Right.
And then I can deal with that. I can take that away and deal with it. A natural process of how I would deal with that.
How would you deal with that then?
Yeah, I've seen.
How would you say? If say you've got is it a demon? Would you say is that how it is, or is it?
No,
is it not that?
No, see, I think we in the paranormal field have taken over the last couple of years. It's taken a massive tree of branches. We've got this demon, we've got that demon, we've got this spirit, we've got that spirit. There's just like everything else, there's got to be something for something. But I'm very chalk and cheese. There's good and there's bad. So my definition is anything that is good, it has touched this earth plane.
Mm-hmm.
That's been born, and people are gonna go mad. But just hear me out. He's like a murderer. Things like that are all under my bracket of good spirit, because they've touched this earth plane.
Right.
They're just a negative energy within the spirit.
Okay.
And when we look at the bad side of things, that to me is an energy that hasn't touched this earth plane and is trying to get here.
Right.
What a lot of people would call demons, fallen angels, if you're looking at it in a biblical sense. So I'm straight down the middle. If I'm dealing with something, I need to know if it's good or bad. Obviously, there's going to be negative energies within the good side, like these murderers and anything like that have done bad things. Mm-hmm. They're going to try to attach and try and harm people and cause their downfalls and make them angry. And we can deal with that, but it's different to dealing with something what I call a bad spirit, which is like along the demonology side and the demonic side, is that's a total different kettle of fish from how you do. So you have to sort of weigh up the concept of what you're dealing with.
Have you ever dealt with that extreme?
Yeah, I would say quite.
You say as casually as like, yeah, sure.
It's because it's my job, if that makes sense. Yeah. That's what I'm here to do. If I'm dealing with a witch or anything like that, I know it's a witch because they just spit at me all the time. Right. But I think when I had the marks go down my chest that made me bleed, I do believe that was a demonic presence that was in for me. my obviously Simon, my partner
Mm.
in Essex Ghost Hunters, he wears a cross. You know, I'm not religious, but I always wear my St. Christopher
Okay.
because that makes me feel comfortable. It's about your intentions of how
Sure.
Simon's had that cross pulled off many times. Now,
Okay.
if you're looking at something like that and how that cross gets removed, that would be me. I would always say that's probably the demonic side,
Mm.
because if you're reading the Bible and things like that, it's the fallen angels trying to get to Earth, and they would find that the
Mhm.
most harshest thing, the cross, um, that would be attacking. So they don't like that. So once that happens, if someone says my cross has come off, we know what we're sort of dealing with and how to approach it. So our protection is doubled. And it is, you do use a little bit of Hollywood within it. You
Yeah,
do
I
say,
imagine. Yeah.
if you get a little bit, if you get a bit, breathless, and you get a bit paranoid, you do recite the Lord's Prayer, because you
Okay.
want that, you do want that person, the creator, I call the creator, to give you,
Mm.
that help. What that is, I don't know. I do
Yeah.
not know what the creator is, but he helps, if
Yeah.
it is God or it isn't.
I suppose it's your mindset as well, isn't it? Like if you go
Yep.
in there and you start, imagine if you start, or like I say it because I would panic straight away, but just like if you started panicking or started getting not sure, if you've got that thing to say, you know what, something's there to save me or there to support me, it'll be fine. It changes your mindset as well, but you're in a more calmer state as well.
Yeah, it's all about your intentions.
Yeah.
I'm a strong believer in intentions when it comes to your spiritual work. If you go in there with pure intentions that you're only in there to help the energies of the building,
Yeah.
to get their answers, it's going to happen. But if you're going in there and you want to summon a devil,
Yeah, of
then
course. Yeah.
that's your intentions.
Expect
You
hell.
are
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I see. That's how I see it. I think I'm very chalk and cheese when
Yeah.
it comes to what we're dealing with, because we could go down this route of elementals and fae, and they
Mm.
probably exist, and they probably do exist. But I think sometimes we have to be a bit close in to
Yeah.
know what we're dealing with.
Okay. You're not scaring the life out of me. It's fine. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. So just like thinking, obviously you said you do setups and stuff. Do you do like tours? I know you do events where people come to you and obviously you discuss, and you're not trying to summon, but try and discuss with or have discussions with people who are no longer here. Is that what you'd normally do? You'd say like every week you'd have a setup. You'd have people coming in who imagine with all walks of life, no experience. Do you
Yeah,
train, teach?
we've got, we've got Essex Ghost Hunters Paranormal
Yeah.
Events, which is that we hire out famous venues around the
Yeah.
country, and then you can join us on a ghost hunt,
Okay.
and
Is
then
that
we do
virtually or
what
physically? Can you do both?
physically,
Okay, cool. That's
physically,
fun.
physically. Um, you can join us on, you know, where we go to for, we've been to Shepton Mallet Prison.
Okay, fun.
We've done many. We're going up to Langard Fort in a couple of weeks' time, and then you can come and use all the tools that we use.
Yeah.
Become a ghost hunter for a night. For when we do table tipping, spirit board. We've got gadgets, K2 meters, spirit boxes, a little bit of everything that
Mm.
we will, from old fashioned seances, and then it's just a matter of what we experience. We try and get you to experience along with it.
Yeah. But I suppose
Um,
you're the gatekeeper. So imagine you're like you said, you're in control. Well, as much as you can be, I suppose, right, of a
yeah,
situation.
you sort of have to, because obviously there's different people that come. You have
Mm.
regulars that come. You have non-believers.
Mm.
So you have to sort of address the room. You have to,
Yeah.
how many times I've had people come into an event. Oh, no, I don't believe it. Got their arms
Yeah.
crossed. Oh, I'm just here for me missus. She wanted to come. I brought her along. The end of the night, they go, "It was the best night I've ever had." Didn't believe in it then, and they walk out believing it. That's all.
Yeah.
It's just the simple crux of it is to prove there's life after death.
Yeah.
That's it,
Would you say
and
that's
that's how I look.
just the reason? Must maybe one of the reasons you're doing it as well. Obviously, go down too deep, but do you reckon that's one of the reasons you're just saying, you know what, it's a good thing. Don't be scared of it. It's although it's daunting, and you got to think the media like they hype it up as Scream, for example, or whatever, or all the ghost movies or scary movies. This.
without just being, we're all going the same way.
Yeah.
We've all got the same end. We're all going to a different planet or a different realm, whatever you want to call it. Why should I fear that when I know what's over there?
Yeah.
I think if everyone had a different, sometimes we, have a little different look of our outlook of life. But I think if we all embrace where we're all heading, our lives will be a lot better. Life is short. We've got to embrace it. Do what you love. Try and do. If you've got something, do it. Just do it.
Yeah.
And that's just how it makes me feel. This is something about me that I love the paranormal. Maybe if it is when I pass, God forbid, a long time way, touch wood. But I'll be going over there, knowing what I'm going over there to.
Yeah. And
come back and haunt the living crap out of everyone that calls crap to me on this earth. That's
what you got to do. But I suppose when you, I'm sorry for just like the constant probing questions. Honestly, it's so intriguing, But it's like, so when you have a discussion, obviously with someone who's no longer here, is it normally like is it normally two ways? Is it normally just look, tell me what you want, or do you ask questions, or is it normally like the spirit would normally say to you, I need to tell this person, or how does it?
It can work many different ways.
Yeah.
You can control it. They can control it.
Yeah.
You can have cryptic clues they love to give you. If you get a really stubborn spirit that comes along that doesn't want to give their name or something like that, can work many different ways. Some spirits can come and say, yeah, I'm Dave. Thank you very much. I'm here for you. Let me speak to this woman. Simple, nice, cushy, done. But then you get some other spirit that comes in and goes, my name's Steve, and I ain't going to tell you anything unless you really work hard for it. I believe it's their personality that they've taken over from this plane to that plane. They were stubborn on this plane. They're going to be stubborn on that plane.
And do you hear? Is it actual voices, or is it just like consciousness? It's like it's like thought, or is it?
Within this paranormal world, you've put me on the spot now. You've heard of clairvoyant.
Yeah.
So we all know what a clairvoyant is. You see them at the end of the pier. They like to be, and that's clear seeing.
Right.
So that's seeing, voyant, clear. So sight. You get clairsentient, smell. You get clairgustant, taste, claircognizance, knowing, and clairaudient, which is hearing.
Okay.
And it all works within your chakras. You're made up with your different chakras from your crown all the way through to your base. And it's just a seeing within your mind's eye. Everyone, if everyone knows, the mind's eye sits it's on your forehead, between your two eyes, just above there. You see it within there, and you hear it. It's hard to explain where you hear it, but it's just a hearing if you're audient.
Okay.
But I'm claircognizance, and that's a knowing. It's just a knowing. Something comes into your head, you go with it. So when I'm giving my readings to people, I'm not getting told anything, but I just know that what I'm telling you. It's weird. It's a very strange feeling, but it's one of the ones that you have to, get out of your logic mind, because it could be your logic brain. You have to filter it out a little bit.
I suppose because obviously, as I said, like it's just from not knowing. In my mind, I just thought that, like you said, Steve comes down. Hi, you're right, Steve. Oh, that's the same voice. I know him. It's nothing like that. It's just crazy. You think obviously.
But everyone's had paranormal activity. Everyone's felt a spirit, and if they don't, they're lying to you. I can guarantee you now that you've had the goosebumps. Yeah, and someone, the old saying, someone's walked, the goose has trod on me grave, or someone stood on me grave, and you shudder. Well, that is it's your aura, which everyone's got a natural aura. It's your energy that sits around about 2 inches around your whole body. Okay, it's scientifically proven. That's not even like a myth. That's scientifically proven that we've all got this aura. It's just their energy, and spirit have got that. So what's happened is you've walked one way, spirit have walked the other way. You've walked through each other, and your aura, as you know, like a bubble, and it wobbles. And that's all it is. That's why you shudder, because it's your aura going, oh, like that, just to rejig itself.
I think I did it twice today. Oh, now stop.
But this is, that's what I'm saying. It's probably someone being with you tonight, knowing we're talking about this.
Yeah. You're definitely freaking me out, in a nice way, in an amazing way. But like you said, everyone's had it, and like a little bit of self-disclosure. I know definitely one, like, and I don't know how it has any relevance. I was really young, I was in bed, it was like literally, it was like 3-4 o'clock in the night. For some reason, I just sat up in the bed, and the very bottom of the bed, I saw like a vicar, literally just standing there staring at me. Like I laid back down, and then obviously waited like 5 seconds, got back up, and there was nothing, and it was just like. I remember saying to like my parents and stuff and my family, they was like, what is wrong with you? But like you said, it's just, that stuck with me forever. And that could have been nothing. It could have been me thinking, it could have been something or whatever. Like no one ever saw or mentioned anything in the house. But like you said, you have that one experience where you think that's something that I've seen, like you said, with the boy, that will stay with you for the rest of your life. And that thing with the vicar, it may well have been, I might have been dreaming. It may well not have been, but like the paranormal, it is, it's so, how can I put it? It's so polarizing.
A lot of people know. I think a lot of people know if they're dreaming or not. I know there is that fine line. Where you go down the, gamma, beta, delta waves of dreaming, and that's but it's what they do say is that the lowest point of your dream state is the highest point of spirit.
Okay.
It's so much easier to contact you
when you're
around that sort of time.
Okay.
And that, and around that sort of time, about 2:30 to 3:30 in the morning, because we all talk about the witching hour. But the witching hour isn't 12 o'clock; it's 3 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
And that's when you get it. And if anyone been woke up at that time, don't know why, it's probably normally spirit trying to wake you up.
Well, that was the exact time I just said. That was at 3 o'clock. It was in that time, 2-3 o'clock in the morning. Oh, right. Okay.
So, to me, you're susceptible to it. There's a door there that is open.
Right, let's close everything. Let's close everything now. No. I know what you're saying. Yeah.
The theory goes that every child up until the age of 12 is open the door to the spirit world. They see it, but they just don't understand it.
Yeah.
We hear of young children talking to imaginary friends, and talking like that. They're talking to spirit, but just don't know it, but it gets to a point, and they say around about that 12, they shut the door because the parents or the adults in their life and world shut it. Just like your mum and dad just said, don't be silly. Straight away, it's just closed the door, and it's like, for me, I opened the door quite late in my life. It was shut. I was no different to every other human. Like, don't be silly. There's nothing. So no such thing as ghosts.
No.
But there is, and that door. But you've seen it, so there's a part of me says that there would be a little bit there that you could open and see it.
But like from the start, you've mentioned it's all about your perception. It's all about, like you said, I think the whole world is obviously, we know what's going on. It's just, if you open yourself up to perception, you can open up your mind to different things. That's 9/10 completed, but it's, that's crazy. That is crazy. Yeah, I think so. I've got just a few other bits. I know, obviously, conscious, it's a longer, but obviously it's just so, having a discussion, maybe talking about obviously paranormal. It's obviously something definitely excites me. It hopefully excites the listeners or viewers as well. Obviously, it's been great having you on, but thinking about like where people would find you, have you got like a website, or what would you say if people really want to just? Because you said you do readings as well. Is that like do you do it via like like via FaceTime or like a video call, or is it just everything face to face currently? That's long-term vision.
To be fair, if the event side of things and everything like that, you go through www.essexghosthunters.co.uk.
Cool.
all our events for next year will be going on over the next couple of months. For next year, the 2024 calendar. If you want to come and see us face to face, you can pop in and see us at the White Elm Garden Centre in Bicknaker. And when we've got our Cyrus shop, where I do all the readings, you can do face to face, or you can do them online, like this interview is being done through Zoom or anything like that. So you can just contact us through info@essexghosthunters.co.uk for that, or pop in and see us at the shop.
Well, I'll make sure I put your website, and obviously I'll put some of the credentials, obviously speak to you, and just have ways to contact, but make sure we're following, Essex Ghost Hunters. You've got to, like I said, we had a little chat before up, going live, and is that the future for you? You want to go more like live, about...
I say we do a live radio show every Friday night. On Facebook and Pulse Talk Radio. So if you follow us on Facebook, Essex Ghost Hunters, you'll see me and Simon there every Friday doing a radio show. So you can see us on that. That's on our Facebook and YouTube, Essex Ghost Hunters. You can find us at Instagram. And it's a bit different on TikTok. It is EGH Paranormal on TikTok. But I do need the help with TikTok, guys. I do need help. TikTok.
We just got to make sure we follow him. So if you're not, obviously just make sure you do. And was you thinking of like just of actually going live more on there as well? So more like a day-to-day basis of like...
I would like to do more via TikTok and doing like live investigations with you guys and interact, because what we've found over the last couple of years, obviously like during COVID times, we couldn't do much. But after coming out of the lockdowns, we were allowed to do a little bit more, where we could meet up with 3 friends. So we met in the forest, in the open, and the interaction that the guys were getting through like the live experiences, and people were picking up at home and giving us names through, and that were coming, was actually there, is amazing. So I really want to do that with a platform that is a little bit more easier to use in TikTok, and it goes global more. It's we're not here to sort of slander anyone down, but we all know like Facebook is handcuffs at times. TikTok is a bit of a free spirit, so
it's a bit like the Wild West. Pardon the Red Dead pun. No, but I think honestly, if you haven't seen like some of the lives and some of the stuff, and there's some really big creators out there, and like you see like the YouTubers and stuff before they started out on like whether it's ghost hunts, and obviously they didn't do it supervised. They said we're going to go to this scary building and stuff, but I think if you did it in a supervised environment, you're actually educating and teaching people rather than I'm in this scary place. Oh my god, this is scary. Like you're actually going to give better education, which it's about, right? That's
the one thing that me and Simon and the rest of the team, like one of the most regrets now is not learning history at school. Because we go to these places and you go, when was what time are you in? And they give you a king or they give you a queen, and you're like,
no idea.
I have no idea what you're talking about because I never learned anything. So you quickly Googling your phone. But if I studied history more at school, it would be a lot easier, especially with these, these ancient locations that we go to. It's just that one regret. So if any youngsters are watching and you are planning to be a paranormal, learn history, because it will absolutely be an absolute brilliant thing to have for later on.
That's brilliant. That's good. I think if someone's thinking about getting into the paranormal, or just they've got something in them, like an itch they want to scratch and say something, what would you say is like the best bit of advice to say? Like for instance, if I said to you now that I've seen a few things, I don't know what it is, what do you reckon I should do?
Don't do it on your own.
Okay,
that's one thing. Get a group of mates together, get a group of friends, and then just look into it. But just make sure you're doing it for the right reasons. Your intentions are clear. If your intentions are clear, you're going to be fine. But if they've got dark meanings to them, expect the dark crap to come looking.
Right, okay.
And just get advice. Get advice. If you are looking to start your own paranormal team, feel free to contact us. we don't, we need more people around the paranormal field.
Yeah.
Most of my team members, our group is a 12 strong team members, and we're all based, from Thetford to Woodbridge to Suffolk, all around sort of the home counties. But they've all been a part of Essex Ghost Hunters through the events. So they've learned and, experienced it and grabbed it, but they haven't done it on their own.
No.
And just come and ask us, Facebook message us or Instagram message or TikTok message or whatever, or email us, and we'll answer your questions. Yeah. We always answer questions. We spend a lot of time, helping other people out, because that's what this is about.
I think that's incredible, and I think, like you said, it's a passion. Obviously, I know you said it's something that you're in the field of now working. And if you've got that passion, and that's the whole reason for having discussions with people with passions. It's so good to see. It can be anything from a set of video games to MMA fight to paranormal. I know this scares the life out of me. I know a lot of you'll be happy seeing my scared face, but it's just so good to see someone so passionate about something and, just want to help other people. And that's when you know what you're doing something well in life, because you know that you're just happy and all you want to do is help. So it's been incredible. It's been great to catch up with us. It's been good.
I love it. I love the paranormal. Yeah. And I generally believe that we should do a live stream with you out in the field. I really do. I think let's walk through a haunted forest and let's see what we get. I'll be there. My team, a few team members will be there.
Oh my God.
And you won't be on your own. You won't be on your own. Let's put it down to your listeners to see what they would like. I bet they all vote to get you out on it.
That's fine. I think we've got to go something high. So if this gets like 5,000 views on YouTube, 5,000, they're not beyond the realms. We could do it. We'll do it. And if you want, I know you like Halloween, we'll do it around the scariest time of year as well.
There you go.
There we go. All
right.
Right. So as I said, guys, already, please make sure you follow him, Russ. So his links to obviously socials and stuff will all be in the description. If you're on Spotify as well, I'll make sure we got links to obviously his website, which you can filter out and communicate with him as well. It's been great just to chat to you. I'm pretty sure we're going to be doing it again soon on a face-to-face level. But like I said, maybe next one, perhaps we do it in your shop, or we do it in an environment where it's maybe a little bit more mystical.
I will be more than happy. You're talking to someone that loves talking about the paranormal.
Yeah.
We'll make more happen for you guys. If you want it to happen, then I'm more than happy to spend my time speaking about more paranormal stuff and things like that. And just make sure you give everybody a like, from this podcast to anything that is to do with Dead as well. It's great to be on your show. Thank you for having us.
No, mate, it's been utter pleasure, and I know a few people are going to be loving the fact that you scared me shitless just for a second, and I'll never get that little boy out of my mind in the tweed jacket, right? But no, thank you for joining, mate, and I'll catch you the next one, mate. Cheers.
No, thank you so much for having us. Cheers. See you later, guys.
Cheers, man.